So my name is Terry Kozakowski from the great class of 1985. Dr. Schmidt, members of the Institute Board of Trustees, honorands, alumni, and friends, I would like to welcome you this afternoon to the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame induction ceremony. In 1995, the Rensselaer Alumni Association, with the full endorsement of the Institute Board of Trustees, created the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame to preserve and celebrate the exceptional heritage of alumni accomplishments throughout the years. The stories of these innovators, pioneers, and entrepreneurs provide a powerful source of inspiration for all who follow their paths and who, like them, will continue to shape our world.
The first class of inductees occurred in 1998, and then since then, a total of 90 remarkable individuals have been granted this great honor. Among them is Augustin Saget, class of 1862, as you just saw on the slide, the inventor of drywall, which we all know allows the construction of walls in a mere fraction of the time and effort it had required before. Among them also is Alan Demont, class of 1924, whose work in perfecting the long-lasting, and that's the key, long-lasting cathode ray tubes allowed for the practical commercialization of the television, changing our life. Our way of life. And among them also is Claire Fraser, class of 1977, who was the first to map a complete genetic code for a free living organism. And that completely transformed the field of microbiology. These are only 3 of the individuals in our Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame. And today, 4 more will be added. Whoops.
Procedurally, there are 2 groups involved in the process of taking those who have been nominated for consideration through to possible induction: the selection committee and the balloting committee. The selection committee consists of 16 members, alumni, students, and Rensselaer officials. They are the first to review the list of nominees and their biographies that are painstakingly researched by our historian. The balloting committee consists of at least 150 alumni, advisors, and friends who commit to give their review careful analysis and thought. The individual ballots ranking the nominees are tabulated, and the results are presented to members of the selection committee, who with this input make the final determination.
As Terry mentioned, the 2 groups, the selection committee, the balloting committee. May we ask those members present who served on the selection committee to please rise and be recognized for the hours of work and the diligent care you took. Likewise, may we please ask those members who present of the balloting committee to please rise and be recognized also for your work and dedication. Now it is my great privilege to introduce the 19th president of Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, Dr. Martin A. Schmidt, class of 1981.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me add my thanks to the members of the selection committee and the balloting committee for all they've done. Terry and Roger, your efforts on behalf of the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame have resulted in the addition of 4 outstanding new inductees at a very special moment in our history, RPI's bicentennial. Thank you for all your work. The Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame holds even greater meaning as we celebrate our past, present, and future. Roger has alluded to the extraordinary impact our alumni have had on our world. For 200 years, the brilliance and contributions of our alumni have given rise to the foundations that have defined the world we live in today. The accomplishments of our newest inductees are at the frontiers of industry, science, technology, and education. And they exemplify at the highest levels RPI's great tradition of dreamers, thinkers, and doers. They are leaders and achievers who inspire all of us. We are proud to share with you this year's class, a group of 4 individuals who have demonstrated the innovation, leadership, strength, and creativity that are the hallmarks of an RPI education. The members of the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame have changed the world for the past 200 years, and we look forward to seeing what the next 200 years will bring. Thank you, and now I'm pleased to introduce Matt Termolen, Vice President for Institute Advancement.
Thank you very much, President Schmidt. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now my pleasure to begin the formal part of our induction ceremony. Dr. Schmidt, the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame Selection Committee is pleased to present to you the 2024 inductees into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame. Each inductee will receive a glass replica of the windows that line Thompson Hall in the David M. Darren Communications Center. We are pleased to begin this ceremony by inducting Frederick Kahn, class of 1962. I would like to ask Dr. Kahn to join Dr. Schmidt on center stage. I know we also have our red and white students joining us. Dr. Kahn earned his bachelor's degree in electrical engineering and physics from Rensselaer in 1962 before going on to earn a PhD in applied physics. His lengthy research and development career, which helped lead a revolution in how information and entertainment are visualized, began at the NEC Central Research Laboratory in Japan, where he was the first NEC employee to work on LCD research, leading exploration of direct view LCDs and color change displays. He returned to the United States to accept an assignment as a member of the technical staff at Bell Labs in New Jersey, where his LCD work accelerated. He launched the LCD research program focusing on liquid crystal molecular alignment and electro-optical effects, leading to the invention of the LCD innovations that today are widely used in flat panel and projection TV. He also worked on laser-written projection techniques for various display applications and for use in telephone companies' central switching office functions. Following Bell Labs, Kahn had one of his most impactful assignments, one which had profound impacts in settings ranging from school, college student math calculations to devices used by scientists around the world. Kahn led research and development efforts at Hewlett-Packard that produced displays for handheld calculators, portable computers, and computer-aided designs. Previously, there were no mechanisms to quickly display digital information on small and portable devices. He also led R&D teams responsible for erasable optical memory and X-ray lithography. Following his career at HP, he founded his own company and was further involved in LCD research and development, where he helped lead advancement on ultra-high definition displays, electronic component manufacturing, and short-order color printing. All of these developments and others were based on liquid crystal imaging. He later founded Kahn International, which continues today as a high-level business development advisor to companies large and small. We are pleased to induct Frederick Kahn into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame.
My engineering studies at RPI, supplemented by an active extracurricular and fraternity life, were outstanding. They laid a foundation for my 53-year career navigating roads less traveled. My interest in optical devices led me to earn my PhD in applied physics at Harvard, specializing in the optical properties of solids. The president of Nippon Electric Company brought me to Japan, where I became the first Caucasian scientist or engineer to work in any Japanese company as a regular employee. On the first day of work in Japan, my department manager summoned me into his office. He noted that the devices I had been hired to work on had major problems. But he said, "You mentioned liquid crystals in your correspondence, so why don't you work on them?" And so I did. Although I became famous for my pioneering liquid crystal work at NEC, I needed more infrastructure than available in Japan at the time, so I returned to the US. On my first day of work at Bell Labs, my department manager summoned me to his office. Once again, I was told the technologies I had been hired to work on were not going to work out. But he said, "Tell me about your work in Japan." I did, and he responded, "That work is more interesting, a lot more interesting than anything we would have you do. So why don't you continue your work on liquid crystals?" After 4 extraordinarily productive years at Bell Labs, including inventing the device enabling most of today's large-screen LCDs, I realized that it was unlikely that any of my work at Bell would be actually used in an actual Bell system product. But Hewlett-Packard in Palo Alto had a real product interest. So I relocated to HP Labs in Palo Alto, where I developed the technology enabling HP LCD-based calculator products, an incredibly successful product line. For example, the HP 12C business calculator, introduced in 1981, is still being sold. HP says it is the longest product-life consumer product ever introduced in the United States. But HP was not commercializing my most important product developments. So I co-founded Greyhawk Systems Incorporated, creating the world leader in prize-winning ultra-high-definition LCD display and imaging products. Greyhawk displays based on my inventions were used by Sprint, the United States Air Force, France Telecom, and the French Sûreté. Recognizing the post-1989 commercial success of LCDs on semiconductor active matrix substrates, I founded Con International Incorporated. For 29 years, from 1992 to 2021, I provided technology, market, and intellectual property services to the world leaders and startups in flat panel and projection display related fields. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next inductee is Eddie Knowles. I would like to ask Mrs. Christine Knowles, widow of Eddie, to join Dr. Schmidt at center stage. Eddie Knowles has been recognized for his tireless work on behalf of civil rights and to identify and support the next generation of historically underrepresented students to pursue careers in STEM fields. Before launching his 40-year career at Rensselaer, Knowles held education positions in New York City for 7 years. He came north in 1977 to accept a position as Assistant Dean of Students and Coordinator of Minority Student Programs, Foreign Student Advisor at Rensselaer. In that role, he founded the Institute's Office of Minority Affairs and later became Rensselaer's first Dean of Minority Student Affairs. He was promoted to Dean of Students in 1982 and then Vice President for Student Life in 2000. During his tenure as Student Life leader, he oversaw the creation of a number of important efforts, programs, and organizations. Our Learning Center, the Bridge and Preface summer programs for identifying and supporting underrepresented students to pursue STEM careers, and the Intervention Team, a multidisciplinary group of faculty and staff responsible for student retention. A particular focus for Knowles were programs for entering students, such as the Office of First Year Experience and the award-winning Navigating Rensselaer and Beyond program for freshmen. During his career at RPI, he directly impacted thousands of students, making those crucial personal connections that changed lives and impacted students' educational experience in a very meaningful and positive way. Throughout his Rensselaer and higher education career, Knowles continued to play and perform as a talented musician, especially in rhythm and percussion. He delighted thousands of viewers and listeners at Rensselaer and elsewhere. He was also the co-founder and artistic managing director of the Griot Dance Company and the New African Music Collective. Following his student life leadership role, he taught music at Rensselaer in 2011. We are pleased to induct Mr. Eddie Knowles into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame. Please join me again in just congratulating Eddie Knowles. Our third inductee is Adam Oates, class of 1991. Adam Oates played for the RPI Engineers from 1982 through 1985, helping to lead the team to the school's second national championship in 1985. Oates led the team in assists every year, starting his collegiate career by scoring 42 points, goals plus assists, in 22 games as a freshman. In his second year in Troy, he set school records with 83 overall points and 57 assists. During the 1984-85 championship year, he recorded 60 assists and 91 overall points. He was named an NCAA All-American and was voted onto the ECAC First All-Star Team. That same season, he was a finalist for the Hobie Baker Award, the NCAA's Top Hockey Player Award. He was later inducted into RPI's Athletic Hall of Fame and the hockey team's Ring of Honor. During his professional NHL career of almost 20 years, Oates played for the Detroit Red Wings, St. Louis Blues, Boston Bruins, Washington Capitals, Philadelphia Flyers, the Anaheim Ducks, and finally, the Edmonton Oilers. In 1992 to 93, as a member of the Bruins, he had his most successful season, where he led the NHL with 97 assists and finished third in scoring with 142 points. While at the Bruins, he scored the 1,000th point of his career and was the 15th fastest player to do so during their career. He retired in 2004 after amassing the highest points and assist total for any undrafted player at that time. 1,337 games played and 1,420 points. Oates then moved into coaching assignments with the Tampa Bay Lightning, New Jersey Devils, and the Washington Capitals. Following his outstanding professional career, Oates was inducted into the NHL Hall of Fame in 2012 and was named as one of the 100 greatest NHL players in history in 2017. Unfortunately, he was not able to join us in Troy today, but we are honored to induct Mr. Adam Oates, class of 1985, into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame. Our final inductee today is Admiral Ronald J. Zlatiper, class of 1963. I would like to ask Mrs. Barry Zlatiper, Admiral Zlatiper's widow, to join Dr. Schmidt at center stage. Admiral Ronald Zlatiper received a Naval Reserve Officer Training Scholarship to Rensselaer, earning his bachelor's degree in mathematics in 1963. He went on to pursue additional master's programs in management and administration, including graduating from the Naval War College. Zlatiper's naval career began as an ensign in Pensacola, Florida, where he underwent flight training, earned his Naval Aviator Wings of Gold, and was chosen to fly the new A-6 Intruder all-weather attack aircraft. He flew 150 aircraft carrier base missions over North Vietnam during combat tours in 1966 and 1967. He also flew combat missions during Desert Storm. Overall, he flew the A-6 over the course of his career, accumulating over 4,000 flight hours and more than 1,000 aircraft carrier landings. Following his early combat deployments and other assignments, Zlatiper held numerous staff and operational tours, including Battle Group Commander in Desert Storm and Desert Shield, Carrier Air Wing Commander, Military Assistant to Secretary of Defense, U.S. 7th Fleet Chief of Staff, Executive Assistant on the staff of the Secretary of Navy, and Program Coordinator for the FA-18 jet aircraft on the Navy staff in Washington, D.C. Appointed Chief of Naval Personnel from 1991 to 94, Zlatiper led the Navy through revolutionary changes, including groundbreaking efforts within naval aviation and the integration of women onto combat ships and aircraft. During his final Navy assignment as Commander-in-Chief of the U.S. Pacific Fleet in Pearl Harbor, he was responsible for the world's largest naval command, encompassing 102 million square miles, more than 190 ships and submarines, 1,600 aircraft, and 200,000 sailors and Marines. In this role, he focused on operational excellence and was a champion of significant personnel and material investments in the Pacific Fleet. He also received a number of medals and awards, ranging from the Distinguished Flying Cross to recognition from Japanese and Korean military leaders. Following his retirement from the Navy in 1996, Zlatiper was an advocate for economic development in Hawaii after settling there, serving on the boards of several technological startup companies, and was a leading advocate for developing dual-use military and civilian technologies on the islands. We are pleased to induct Admiral Ronald Zlatiper into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame.
I would just like to thank you from the bottom of my heart for honoring him this way. It would mean so much to him. He loved Rensselaer. He thought of it as his launching pad, and from there he continued to soar. Thank you.
Congratulations again to our distinguished inductees and their families. Inductees and members of their family will be available later this afternoon during a celebration reception right outside, so that you may share your own personal congratulatory remarks with them.